C, and we begin throwing our stuff around. Streams. I really struggle to find community streams on this one. That's almost fine. There we are. Throw it up here. Hello, hello. And no, that that loading screen has not materialized yet. Oh. Spam sticker there at least. We'll just have to do it that way because I don't want mod right now. I'm in low brain power mode today, guys. Just kind of low enough that I forgot to turn your music back on. Just background battle music. I guess that's what we're doing. But today, what we're actually mostly doing is I'm gonna add a little more green stuff. These two are pretty much set. But I think I am gonna add some more green stuff to my boys here. I did some looking around to figure out what the heck was going on with my green stuff fur plate, and it is just now like leaving Europe. So I think we're gonna go ahead and just have to accept that these guys are not gonna get that treatment. Got our green stuff here. Let's make sure we're looking at everything. I just kind of pull this back to this way. Get a better view. Got a dish of water over here. Got our boys. And I was thinking about what I was going to do with this guy, and I actually think I am going to do one that like a triangle piece that drapes over the backpack. Although that will make it difficult to add the company symbol, which I've decided that they go on the domes of the backpack back here, but I think we can figure that out when we get there. Let's get ourselves a tool. Clear my workspace out a little bit. And I think we might even just start with this bit that I had cut off previously, because I had cut off too much. A little bit of glop, a little glop stuck to my tool here. I think we're just going to work with this for now and see what we can do, right? Just going to lose that connecting bit. We're just going to Twist, 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 fold, fold. It's probably... And my finger's wet while doing this so that it does not stick to me. I've just got to try and figure out how I'm going to do this. Because I want it to kind of hang over the backpack and down a bit onto the dome. Like in a little triangle shape. So first what I'm going to try and do is I'm actually going to try and roll this out. I'm actually going to probably better use that non-textured paintbrush. There's kind of immediate issue with not getting this wet. Gonna take some practice getting that into my brain to make sure that I keep everything wet. So maybe we fold this in half. Fold it in half again to get maybe the better size. Kind of like that. Peel it off, kind of goes over the top, kind of like this. So what if I kind of cut in like about here, just kind of slice down like that. Just kind of something along those lines. Probably actually use my X-Acto knife, eh? Just kind of slice through it kind of like that. We take this and we kind of... maybe a bit much still, so we're going to kind of roll this up. That way it ends up kind of like that. Press this down over the top. So this is kind of the right place. And kind of the right proportions. Do think I'm going to want to bulk this up just a little bit. So that it actually has a little mass with which to put the fur into. one of the things we're going to just try and do is we're going to try and keep aware that we do want to not keep this lower part directly attached as best we can. So when I do this part, I will probably keep my tool up under here, which actually means one of the things I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and push this guy into my blue tack base so that I have more ways to hold him. So we're gonna kind of... Oh, can actually get him in there. We're gonna kind of mark the hairline as right there. Actually, I think I am going to go ahead and dig this segment out. Just thin this up a little bit. Oh, I just popped something loose on my boy. These guys could really benefit from pinning. Hopefully, I did actually get my new tungsten drill bits, and hopefully I can pin stuff in the future. But right now, we're just gonna keep it what we're doing. It's just the wrist came off. Yep, that is the weak point in that bond. Okay. So when we do this, we're going to kind of scoop this boy, and actually I think this is in the way. This is nice and wet. I'm going to kind of get this boy up under here. I'm going to press it down on that. That's already not coming out the way I want it. I have to try this application again. What I think I'm going to do first is I actually think I'm going to do the top part right now. We'll kind of mush the rest of this together, and we'll see about how best to do the triangular component below. So we're just going to do like we did last time with the tutorial on the tool. Just take another pass real quick. We're cut a little bit of this off because I think it is just a little bit, but I think this is about right here. Hey. Actually, I think we'll just take a little bit, just a little bit. Just smudge it right here. And then kind of just cut away a little bit of it. It actually feels like it was a mistake. Feels close, but not quite. I actually think, now that I'm kind of toying with this, I'm actually kind of glad it's not worked. Because I think the better option is actually just the bit on the top. Like in retrospect, now kind of handling and working with this. I think that that has actually produced a better effect, a better and more visually interesting. Yeah, I think that's a little more interesting looking, just to have it over the top there. Probably get rid of this bit. I added a little bit too much, it seems. But not a ton too much, it seems. So aside from the little bits left over that I need to get rid of, like that piece. Okay. Yeah, I am actually... I know it failed part of the way through. But I'm actually pretty pleased with the way it failed, is leaving it both left the dome exposed, so I can still put the decal there. Let me just slot this back in. Alright, that should glue right into place. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. So we can sit and let that stuff cure. Then we have this boy, and I was actually thinking of giving him a, So we have loincloths that cover your loins. Like on this guy. What do you call it when you have one that's off to the side? Because I know a kilt's all the way around, or a skirt is all the way around, but what is a half? Is it like called a half skirt or a half kilt? And I think I'm going to try a similar technique. That I'm going to, and actually I think I'm going to use my X-Acto knife this time to roll this out. And we'll just lift it up. I'm actually going to fold this in half. Just like this. And I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to place this like right here. Just going to kind of, here's our tool here to press it all into place over his belt. Now we don't want to press it up into that. Kind of. We gotta move it down a little bit. Give it a little fold there. Press it down like that. You know, I know I was going to do fur for all these guys, but maybe I shouldn't do fur here. Maybe I just have a cloth for this guy. You know, just have them be a little bit different. Well, if I do that, I have to ask myself, what is this cloth made out of? And actually, I need to pull this off, because it's getting there, but I'm kind of overworking it, and it's starting to tear on itself. So try that again, though. I was pretty happy with a lot of the way it worked. You know what? I'm not going to make this fur. I'm going to leave this one as, like, a cloth. Oh, it could be, like, eel skin or something. Oh, that's actually, like, from, like, a mega eel creature. Yeah, we'll do something that's not a wolf fur for him. And actually, I'm feeling the same way about the other guy. I think we should do something that's not wolf fur. Just to highlight some of the differences of the different creatures they might have been hunting. Let's see. Fortunately, I've accidentally cut this one sideways somewhere along the way. So, oops. Oh well, it's not that big a deal. Just gonna set this over here. I'm just gonna have those at the ready while I decide exactly where I'm gonna put this. If I did it over the chapter symbol, but then hung it down this way, right, look. I don't know how good that would look. I do kind of think a shoulder adornment would be neat, though. Let's see what we can do. Let's take our component here. I'm almost wondering if maybe more than a pelt, what this guy needed was another trophy. But I think a shoulder drape would work pretty nicely. I'm going to try and get it over the chapter markings? Yeah, let's get it over the chapter markings. Because I think they'd be more inclined to, you know, let their trophies cover up their chapter than their pack markings. Because kind of being part of a pack's important to an Iron-Tide wolf. Once again, I think we... if we were to do it this way, we would... I'd actually probably slot it, like, here. Then let it hang down like that, and actually I think... Yeah, this is interesting. I think I want to... I think I'm going to try this again. I'm just going to pull this away. I'm going to roll this up, but I think I can do this. And I think it'll be pretty good. We need to squish that out a little bit further. Oop. Oh, we're gonna have to start that again. Don't worry, I'm figuring it out. Gonna fold it in half. That creates a better thickness. Press that here, and we're just going to kind of pull it down in the gravity's direction. And just let it sit just like that. I think I'm going to do one thing. I'm just going to pull this a little bit away from the elbow. All right, I actually really love this. It's got the draping shoulder. And so that's what that'll be, is that once that hardens, I'll do like some sort of sea serpent skin for those. Oh, I'm very excited about that. Sorry, I'm just kind of working my excitement out, standing up, shaking it off. All right. I think we let those dry. So I'm very happy with those. And I'll have to look up like a fun, like, way to paint kind of eel skin. Because eel skin will look kind of like leather. I'm thinking eels because I'm just imagining like giant mega serpents. Might even be a hunter's honor. Yeah, I think that's good. Yes, I'm happy with this. Quite happy. I'm gonna give these guys like an age to cure some more, before I glue any of the last bits, which I will probably do the last bits off screen. No one needs to see 5 minutes of me just sticking pouches and stuff to a belt. Well, it does remind me, I do need to take the time to print out some knife sheets and stuff so that they make some sense. However, what we are going to do now is we are going to try and make ourselves some bases for these guys to go on. Now, I've got some supplies here to try out. I have never once in my life made a base. For example, here's a Chaos Cultist that I painted ages ago. I, like, just primed the whole thing. Even if I take my, much better painted Cadian, or Guardsman model, you'll see that the base is the same color as his coat, because I just spray primed the entire army. But today we're going to be trying some stuff, and we're going to be trying some stuff from Midwinter Minis, which is what was suggested to me, and I saw their video, and it was really cool. But... oh, and I should look... maybe I should put some dead bits on here. We will see. But here we are. We have this. And they, suggested a few things, and I've got some, sprue stuff here that's left over. I got a big box of sprues here. I've got some copper wire. I have a whole bunch of aluminum wire to serve as wires and cabling, and one of the things they did for the plates was used card, which I'm going to salvage from this old Ball Predator container that I just don't have anything to put in, and I figure I might as well turn some of these materials that I've had sitting around for years into viable materials. So, I should have maybe acquired scissors. I'm trying to think of where the nearest pair of scissors are. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna walk literally right over here, and if there's no scissors over here, we're just gonna improvise, rather than me going hunting all over downstairs. Right. Aha! I found some scissors. I have found scissors. Alright. Yeah. So, we got some scissors now. Nice big heavy duty scissors. So, I think the easiest way to do this actually, need to come in from the side here. Try and show you what I'm doing. And we're going to cut through here. through this area. Just so I can kind of get a big... And I can unfold the other sides here once the center bit is actually taken out. Because the way the box is all folded together. Let's go ahead and just get right across here. I'm sorry if you can't really see what I'm doing, because I'm kind of pulling it over here. There's not really a good place to put this under the camera. So now we got most of this interior part. I can actually, if you'll see, I can show you. Is you can unfold these interior bits for even more stuff. Rather than just slicing through them, there are actually a lot more if you cut through only part of them and then unfold them. Now, you know the moment when you realize that there's this thing that you just don't have and you realize you've never had it? Yeah, I want to step away and go acquire a pen and a marker. Oh my goodness. Boom. Pen and marker. I should also have a ruler here. I got a tape measure, which is what I'll be using. But it'll be sufficient for task. So first things first is I'm actually going to trace myself a bit of a base. No, it's not going to be a perfect circle, but we're just doing what we can with what we got. Now I'm just doing a test base right now, but I should go ahead and set up 5 of these. Get up under there. Ooh, this Sharpie smells like it's been sitting in a hot box for a while. It's very pungent. Wonder if the magic fairies will come for me after smelling this thing. Stretchy stretch. Okay, so I got some... I'm sure there's a, like, better system to this. I ain't gonna use it. We just trying stuff out. We making it up as we go. I've got my cardstock a little bit wet, but that should not be a major problem. We're just gonna, before we cut anything else out... Nah, I'm just gonna get these out of here. Like, there's no reason for me not to do it just right now. Scissors in my hand, right? So we're just gonna cut this up a bit. What we're gonna try and do is we're gonna try and make these look like the inside of a starship. Because that is the Iron Tide's expertise, is raiding starships and space stations and space hulks. In fact, oftentimes the purpose of some of these raids are even to acquire ships, or more pointedly, warp drives. As they can make a lot of the ships themselves, but warp drives and larger main drives are well beyond them. Though they can produce smaller main drives. It allows them to make system ships and stuff. Okay. I'll probably set my scissors over here. So, right now, I'm just working with the test. We just trying stuff out right now. This is all brand new. I've never done this before. Hell, I've never painted a base before. Oh, I should probably pull that back here. There you go. And I kind of am deliberately leaving the black circle under the assumption that if I do this, I will get to cut off some more, but I'm going to go ahead and do it this way. Now, we're just going to do one right now, and we'll see about getting fancy with it, with them afterwards. Okay. Give that one a second. And so, and I've been thinking about putting some, like, guardsman bits on here. Because I've decided, kind of over time, that obviously they've had their run-in with the Tyranids, and I have the, it's a Broodlord head, but it's supposed to be just a Genestealer head, it's just downscaled. That they've had their run-in with the Tyranids, especially High Fleet Leviathan, as is their history when they came to claim the homeworld of Volca. But also, Volca probably has a lot of leftover Genestealer infestation, and their predilection, their penchant for engaging Space Hulks means that they will encounter Genestealers and such frequently. So I actually think Guardsmen and Genestealer cult bits will make good decorations for these guys. I don't think I'm going to do everyone up in the same enemies, but I think if I have to choose an enemy by default and I don't have one in mind, it's going to be Genestealers. Just because, you know, and I kind of imagine one of the things that they're trying to do is that in the kind of darkness of the Imperium Nihilus, sorry, there's the words will not come to me, of ships getting lost and wandering and things like that, the Genestealer cults are actually kind of flourishing on that side of the galaxy because there's much less of a concerted effort to contain them that is put together. So I imagine that that's one of their primary missions that they keep an eye out for, is slaying Genestealers whenever they find them in order to prevent other worlds from being overrun. Let's get my X-Acto knife in here. Kind of cut it away because I kind of want these to be a little more rounded, but we'll work at it. I want actually tore instead of cutting. Oh, okay. Well, that would be why, though. There's a bunch of glue there. We can round it up a bit more in the future, but I do want these bases to be somewhat rounded. So, now the thing that they recommend doing is taking a ballpoint pen. I'm going to take this for my straight edge. By the way, whenever you're using a tape measure like this as a straight edge, roll it so that it's on one side, because you know they're kind of, I don't know if you can see that, how they're kind of U-shaped. Roll it onto one side so that it actually gives you a straight edge. Otherwise, you don't actually have a downset edge. Basically, they say, just fucking gouge it in there with the ballpoint pen. Gouge it in there. Yeah, just like that. And then we're going to do 90-degree plate. I think I can find something better to work than this tape measure. Here, we're going to use one of my drill bits cases. I'm just going to push that down like that, and we're just going to... just like that. Another thing that they recommend doing with my X-Acto knife is that to put the rivets in, we kind of just use the tip of our X-Acto knife, you push it in and you kind of rotate it to dig out areas for the rivets to be. Just kind of swoosh, 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 swoosh. And actually, the tip that they have to follow that up is push the ballpoint pen into there to kind of press the stuff down and hold it out. So, I don't know how well you can see that, but I'll hold it up a bit higher. You can see I now have 2 rivet bits, little rivet spots. And I have this T intersection, which is actually like in the texture of the stuff of the card. I'm actually going to kind of score it a little bit deeper here. You can actually, if you run your finger over it, you can actually feel where those are because I've depressed the card. I've scored down into it. Okay. So this leaves me with another question of what should I do with it next. Would actually like to use some copper wire for once. Well, this stuff's kind of nice. I'm thinking, just going to kind of do this to look relatively straight, of some cabling. And I'm thinking some cabling running over the side here. Kind of like this. And have like 3 parallel wires. So that's what I think I'm gonna do. So here I am just straightening it. And actually one thing you can do to straighten these is run along the edge of your table. It does bend it at an angle, but then you just do this and it's relatively straight. Now we use our tool clippers, not our nice flush cuts. And we clip off more than is really required for one segment. And I'm actually going to clip a little off this end as well, because yeah, that'll go good. So I'm actually going to make the 3 segments ahead of time. So we're just gonna probably only need about that much. Whoop, and probably only need about that much. Whoop, those went flying over there now, but they are safely within reach, thankfully. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna apply a little glue along this. Kind of smear it out and around. And what we're just going to do, just going to lay these side by side, roughly next to each other. Gotta be careful because if you touch it, it will glue itself to you very easily. And I've bent one of my wires a little bit, so we're going to have to do a little work. I've still struggled with trying to keep stuff from getting glued to me. I'm very bad at it. Very sticky. So we shall do that. Oh man. Alright, so we're gonna try this again. But we're gonna try a different approach. As opposed to what I did before, where I was trying to set them down one at a time. I'm actually going to just try and set them all together at once, and then use one of my tools or my X-Acto knife to move them into position. Use this. It's okay if it's not perfect. Interesting, this center one's actually giving me some trouble here. Maybe if I... way too much. Just go ahead and set it in this way. Okay, let me let that. We're gonna let that sit. See how well that solidifies. But I have these three cables running near each other, and I figured I'd put I'd RGB them or something like that. Paint one color, paint another color. Woo! I'm excited to try these bases out. We gotta figure out what kind of color scheme I'm gonna use for deck plating, though. Kind of hard, one of those things where, like, we really talk about what color the inside of a spaceship is. But, like, the inside of buildings are colors. Oftentimes many colors. You know, when you talk about the inside of, like, an aircraft carrier, it's actually a fairly bright gray color, like a gray, white, cream almost, depending on the actual aircraft carrier itself, but certainly not like black, or certainly not like shiny iron, because obviously, you know, or whatever, or steel, I guess is what it would be made out of. You know, the inside of a ship is the color of the wood they make. So, what's the inside of a starship look like? You know, what colors do they use? Probably going to lean more into the gray, like the brighter grays. To give a more active use appearance to the base, rather than this as being like the interior of some ancient wreckage or something. This is a ship in active service that has been turned to the service of a gene stealer cult. And they, you know, poured and purged it and killed it. Okay. I'm going to try and clip these. There you go. Base isn't quite perfectly circular, but I don't know if it needs to be. So that came out pretty well. So I'm going to step away and use the restroom. And I will be right back. So we got one piece down. Okay. We have returned. Now, we begin. And so now we will continue our work. Fascinating. I'm actually really surprised at how well this came out. It was pretty neat. Probably could have done that cleaner, but we're learning. We're learning. Super glue is just one of those things I'm still kind of, even after all this time of using it. Sorry, as I was talking about my troubles with super glue, I ran into a trouble with super glue where the tip of my scissors had actually been glued together because I was cutting it maybe a bit early from the... I actually think this time I don't want to. I think this time I want to actually try and get down to the black circle. Rather than leave the overhang and try and cut it off from there. That should do the trick. So we're going to try this again with a new one. Now I'm wondering if there's a better way to, than the ballpoint pen, to score the plate lines in there, the deck plating lines. And they do also, by the way, say glossy side up, because that's, you know, what you're attaching the other stuff to. So you kind of want that wide contact point where there's plenty of contact, even though it's a rougher surface on the other side. So, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do one... I'm going to start by doing this. It might be too deep a score, but... Okay, and then we're going to take this one and do the same thing, but we're going to go good. So we're going to make like this little X here, or cross point here. Then just like before, we're going to do the rivets. Somehow I ended up grabbing this instead of my X-Acto knife, but this is what we will be using now because it is in my hand. Sometimes you just gotta go, fate. There we go. The gouge in there, and I kind of want to do this one first because this one's the most fiddly. There we go. Okay. Go around, just like before. And we get our ballpoint pen. Do the same thing, we push it in. That kind of forces the stuff down, forces it to compact into something that looks like it would have had a rivet. Kind of mushroom out just a little bit. And there we go. Now we have another one. This time with the like X. What should we do to this piece? That is a good question. Let me go down, open up this, see, We have some sprue like this. I think a better question to ask is, whose base would this be? Because I just made this base. I'm like, oh, I'm going to put some stuff on it. But let me ask, whose base is this? You know what? We should make it his base. So let's... kind of like this. So let's... we could turn them this way. Run it that way. Let's run something. Let's run like, I have one of these rounded piece of sprues that could look like a conduit of some kind. Or something like this. I actually think this piece right here would be perfect. Let's get my clippers in here and... see what we got. We can... run it, because it would run like this back behind his feet. Okay. I'm on the edge here. So let's clip this a little shorter. Yeah, that's the right size. I'm actually going to see if these green stuff files actually work on plastic sprue. Feels like it. Looks like it. Yeah. So we'll place it like this way. Actually, we would kind of want it going this way, wouldn't we? Like across this? Yeah, like this, actually. Yeah. Let me just show you. Oh, actually, before I make this horrible mistake, I need to get my X-Acto knife. And see how the sprue has this underside? I need to make sure I clip that away, or else this is not going to fit properly. And then we can take our thingy. And there you go. That should be flat enough for it. Just kind of get some glue along the bottom of this. And we're going to go in and we're going to put it right here. Just the edge, just like this. Just like that. So now we have a sprue bit here. I want to maybe add one more element to his, because it's going to sit kind of like this, so something maybe laying across here. Or maybe I don't need to add something across there. Yeah, no. I think what we'll do is we'll try to paint blood, a blood spatter here across this. We'll have to see what we can do about blood, because I know that a lot of people use a technical paint, blood for the blood god, but I don't have that technical paint. Okay. We just want to do one element. I think I'm just going to do one element on these two. Because I do want them to be starship bases, but I don't want to overcrowd what we're up with, what we're about. And in fact, I think I'm going to say that this is Ralof's base with the stuff, because what we can do, I think, is set him here so that it's crossing in front of his feet. Excellent. So, you say we make one more. Let's do his base. So, what do we think? Put like a little rock thing, like a light or something. I don't know. They actually had this really cool idea where they had a, it was an old, like, lunch meat box. Like those plastic containers you get, like, food in. That had a number and texture depressed in it. And they glued it on to this glossy surface with PVA glue. And that actually sounds like a cool idea, but I don't know if I have anything that will fit that bill. Just trying to think about it. Do I have anything that I can use to put like a number or a texture on this? Because it's actually a really neat idea. But I don't know of something I have that has that number like as a texture, as like an embossment on it. I just don't think we have any of those. That's an interesting quandary I find myself in. Well, ultimately, that's not the nature of the quandary. The nature of the quandary is, what do we put on base number 3? Actually, you know what could be fun? Like, damage. Maybe make one of the, maybe what I'll do... Okay, I have an idea. We're gonna try and see if this works. But I highly doubt it will, but we're gonna try. Okay. Okay, what I think I will do, take my ballpoint pen, and yes, you'll note that I am doing this before gluing it on. And actually I should use this side. I'm going to take this, I'm going to kind of go like right here. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is, as they're at 90 degrees, I'm going to cut this segment away. Here. So now, when we have this in, we'll have this with the scored in lines, but it will have a lowered section, and we can put some sort of damage on that. Or at least we can put a different texture here. So what kind of different texture do we want to add, though? We're just experimenting at this point, so we just trying stuff off the cuff. But how do I change this to be a little bit different? Well, not just a little bit different. I'm obviously marking it with a much harder edge than I am the rest of the, Oh, we're just gonna do a little clip just to clean this up here. I'm obviously marking it with a much harder edge than I am the rest of the panels. I definitely want to highlight a difference here. What's a good idea? See, I had originally envisioned maybe doing like I would need a higher base if I wanted to do the original idea where the plate is missing and you could see the stuff underneath. But if I put stuff on this, it's going to be at level with this stuff, which is not going to look right. Well, actually... Okay, hold on. My mind is going places, ladies and gents. What if instead... I had wires or something coming out of the edge here. Coming out, laying over the edge. Like they've been busted. Or ripped open or something, right? Like they're hanging down, almost. So let's just try something here. Where's my tool snips? Take this. And I kind of like bend it like that, and I just have it set like this. And I cut it off like here. Oh, hold on. Give me 1 second. I am going to add our rivet here. So we know it's got to go here. Just get our ballpoint pen. Okay. But if we take this, now that I've clipped it like this at an angle, let me say maybe set it here, have it pass between his legs. Just have like 3 cables, just kind of like this. Just kind of sprawled out. I don't know. If it's between his legs, it's barely going to be visible, so I don't know if it's going to be good for this guy. I'm thinking for this guy, actually, it's probably the best. Yeah. So we lay like one this way, and then we lay like one this way. So here, I'm gonna actually cut this off. I'm going to look for my forceps that I know are right here somewhere. I'm probably going to need them. Ah, they're there. Okay, so I've glued it so that the cut section is facing down into this. So hopefully, I'm gonna let that dry, by the way, just... Okay. Smear away some of that extra glue so we don't have to worry too hard about it. I'm gonna let that dry. But hopefully, that will give the impression that the cable is coming out of that black area, which I will likely paint, like repaint as like a black gray or something like that to indicate like shadows or depth. Or I might even paint like, oh, that's something I can maybe do. Try and paint in some stuff down there. I don't know, that sounds complicated. But we're gonna try this. If nothing else, I'm sure we can figure out how to do it at the painting step. But at this stage, I think it's actually a good idea to do the downturn thing, like it's snaked down in there. And I think if you paint that black against the textures, like the painting of the other ones, it will look like an empty space rather than the base. Well, I'm not certain of that, but that is what I am attempting. Like, we're trying out some stuff. Okay. That's had a moment to dry. We can now attempt another one. So I think we're just going to snip off the very end of this. We're going to kind of let it be a little higher this time, just to pronounce the effect a bit more on this one. Just like last time. Take this with my forceps. Put a glue here. And a little glue along here. So then we got this boy. So yeah. Because it'll be like this. Yeah. Okay, so what can we do to make that seem more like battle damaged? More like this panel was torn off or something. No, not really. I do like this. I think this is coming out good. Here, because you can see it's coming out of the black space. And I'm hoping once painted, it will appear like it's coming out of a missing panel. Still feels a little bare. But I also don't want to overcrowd it. No, actually, I think this is fine. I think this is a darn fine time. Alright, which actually means I need 2 more, huh? 2 more bases. Okay, so we got that one. So who does that leaves us with? That leaves us with Mr. Marksman and Sir Noisy. I'm just calling him that because he's the one with like his head thrown back and his sword out like he's howling. So let's think on this. I don't really want to go too heavy on his base. He's got the loincloth down there. Like, anything you put on his base is going to be kind of obscured, except from, like, literally... I mean, he's even also kind of leaning back, right? So he's probably not going to need a terribly elaborate base. So I think I'm just going to give him... I think I'm going to give him like a piece of sprue. Some sort of... something like we did here for this pipe. We're just going to give him something like that. Maybe off of one of these. Maybe one of these center bits right here. Between the 2 melta guns. I might even have one of them. No. I think that'll work. But for now, let's clean up its... the sogginess because it's got wet from the green stuff working. Okay. So this one we want to keep simple because his lower body's got a lot going around on it, and his base will, like, we don't want to make it so busy at the bottom that the top gets overshadowed, right? Come on now. Alright, well, I guess that's where it's glued down. Oh man, might have to do this again because that soggy bit does not look right. Like, it didn't cut well, so now it's kind of frayed. It should be fine, actually. Here's what I'll do. I'll kind of take one of my box razors and I'll just kind of... Oh. That shit does not want to cooperate at all. I don't think this is going to look good. I think that this component's actually just straight up not good. Alright, so we're just gonna tuck that one away. It's okay, we can just make another one later. We'll maybe come up with another use for this someday, but right now I just think that that one's gonna have to be something else in the future, because it does not, because part of the edges were soggy, and they didn't cut clean, so now they were fuzzy. Close enough. We going in. Boom. Alright, we're just gonna let that sit. But yeah, this one I think we're just gonna give a little bit of sprue to. And I think we're gonna do a piece of this piece of this right here. I'm just gonna get my flush cuts. Get right on in here, give this one a click. Give this one a click. Now they come out. We're going to take our new Sandy boy. We're gonna He's probably actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my X-Acto knife first. And I'm going to try and cut these, like, actually flat. You know, so that they're kind of flush. And then we'll smooth them flat rather than having this kind of point that I've just smoothed down. Okay, now this should do the trick. Okay, and then we're just gonna just a bit more. And then this is gonna end up. Oh, of course we gotta do some of this. Now, when you're doing these bits like this with an X-Acto knife, try not to do too much at once, because the harder you have to press, the more likely you are to like lose control. I'm actually gonna do this real quick. This can't get. Yeah, see, it worked. It wasn't too bad, but it was kind of awkward to do. Alright, and then it's gonna end up back there like that. So we're gonna turn this face the same way. Take this. Let's just do a straight in the middle. We're just gonna do a straight cross with this one. And I'm gonna go across just like this. Okay, we're just doing that, and we're gonna add our rivets. Around. Oh, it's a little too far. Kind of fold that in so that it gets shoved back in. Don't get overzealous. and drill all the way into the black plastic below. I did go all the way through, didn't I? Yeah, I did. I went straight through. Well, that's a lesson for later. It's come up short here, so what I think I will do, if I just show you, see how it's come up short on this side here? What I will probably do is maybe, is that too busy? I could maybe glue some copper segments to that, like they're, that might be a bit much. We'll see. We'll let that dry for now. We'll sit on that. But I did have the idea that I could have, like, copper bits spilling out of that, like it's a conduit that's broken. I'm gonna go ahead and let that one sit. Now, I'm gonna grab my card, grab my boy here. Go ahead and do it here. Where's my Sharpie? No, my Sharpie off? Oh, there it is. It's over there. There we go. Set that back there. Just keep going. Just kind of getting around like this. And we're in. Okay, so now we gotta kind of figure out. Let's stand up, do my stretchies. Now I gotta figure out what are we gonna do for this guy's base. All right. That's a good question. So, what are stuff that happens on the starship interior? Can't really do anything like him standing cover, because that would require me to build like a standing piece for him to stand behind, which would probably take up too much of his base. You know, I could do that idea that I had with the sprue. Or, you know, let's use a different shape of sprue. I know I got like a... Got some round sprue here from an old World War II kit. Okay, yeah, I think I know what I want to do. I'm going to take this and I'm going to set this piece of the sprue and this piece of the sprue next to each other like a pair of pipes. And actually, I'm going to cut one short. And I put him in front of his feet. Clip that just a tad shorter. Sand down the edges so they're flush. Whoop. Just gonna kind of whoop. Set that right there, just kind of like that. We're going to kind of cut into this one at an angle, kind of like that. Which we need to cut off more. And what I'll do is I'll paint some like gook dribbling out of this, like coolant or something. And I've got to add my deck plating in now because I messed up. That's my thing that I was using. I have to do this a little bit funky because that stuff is already on there, but we're just going to kind of come in on the... Now we do ourselves a little T at the edge here. We're going to take our X-Acto knife, we're going to add our rivets here. Push those in there, widen those out. And voila, we have another one. We have 5 bases. That's actually a pretty fun technique. I like it. Now let us see. what should we do next? I might actually end up calling the stream a short one today, because I've now assembled 5 bases. I've assembled 5 bases. I did green stuff on 2 more of my dudes. The only thing, and I want to let those cure before I put any more bits on them in order to fill them out. In order to get knife sheaths, I have to print new ones because the other ones misprinted heavily. Leaves me with the doozy of a question of what should I do now? Because right now we're just kind of waiting for this stuff to cure and be done drying together, you know? And then we sit down and paint them. And I don't know if I'm ready to sit down. Well, obviously I gotta let the glue dry, and I kind of want to give a good amount of time for that. That's pretty cool, though. I will probably turn this one into a scrap. In fact, that's, I think that's what I will end today doing. So I'm just going to put a bunch of crap on this base. I'm going to do the ballpoint pen scoring. With the rivets and everything. I know this one's not going to look good in the end, but I'm just going to glue some crap to this one. I'm just going to slap some copper wires on there. Slap a piece of sprue. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to slap a piece of sprue and some copper wire on this. And this could be my test vessel for painting. This piece of sprue will do. We're not really that concerned about making this make too much logical sense. This is a scrap piece. Cut that off. We're just going to lay, I'm thinking 2 segments of wire. Side by side. And I immediately fragged it up. We'll let that dry. It's good enough. It's good enough for me to slap some paint on as a practice tool. But with that, I think for today, we're just going to stick with a short stream of me doing a little bit of green stuff. And doing the last of the green stuff, I will say, for these guys. I do need to have my fur texture plate for my dreadnought, I think. Because I think I'm going to do my dreadnought next. And I'm going to want a bunch of, like, flat, wide pieces hanging off. We will see where the wind takes us, because I do want to paint these guys. After I get some of the last bits on them. But I think that's what I'm going to do for today. Thank you for joining me. I found out some really fun things. I'm really happy with these bases. I'll be posting some Twitter pics of those soon. But thanks for joining me. Have a good one.